Hi, so Fabricator General for world building. In this video we're going to work on the District 5 garage from MicroArts Studio, and as you'll see as we come through it, this really turned into kind of a comedy of errors working through. It's a tutorial, but it's kind of a little different than the tutorials that I'm used to, where the host very much is the subject matter expert and works through it. So, just like you, I don't really, this is the first time that I worked with it, just like you. And so, maybe the idea of working through with somebody who is discovering it as you go isn't your cup of tea, and you prefer to have your instructors or your tutorial people actually be smoother as they go. In that case, please still check this out, but maybe it's not for you. If on the other hand you feel more comfortable with working through as you go, seeing me have the same foibles that you might have, the same struggles that you may have, confusion, and overcoming it together, then please stick around. If you have strong opinions either way on how you'd prefer these videos to go versus me knowing exactly what I'm doing and snapping straight through it, or working through this in a quasi-unboxing, because I didn't do a strict unboxing with it, but I did do construction for the first time I touched it, first time you've seen it, kind of thing. So let me know what you think of it all. I quite enjoyed myself when it was all said and done. You'll see. So without any further ado, let's kick right into it. Alright, so ready, state, move calm on to the next stage. All systems, go. Afternoon, or whatever time it may be. I guess in this case it's Happy Wednesday. Shout out to my heroes and role models. And today we're going to look at MicroArts Studios District 5 garage. And we'll look at this. This is a HDF product. And what you get is 3 different boards of HDF. Let's see if you can see the lines there or not. And we'll get some better pictures up as always so you can see better images of what you get. This is, the previous one was the floors. These are the garage doors and some of the wall connectors. And these are more of the walls and more connectors. The HDF is a high density fiber pressed wood, kind of a pseudo wood, or I suppose it's real wood, but it's all press board. One of the first things that you do when you get it out of the package is take a look at some of the instructions. There's the cover sheet that doesn't have any instructions on it. Got some instructions here, both sides. So we'll set those aside for later. And the first thing that you may want to do is you'll notice that when you start picking it up, this is actually laser cut. You can take and just pop some of the pieces out. Doesn't want to do it now because you're watching. There it goes. So you'll get these little bits of HDF that will drop out. Throw those into one of my mini bits buckets with a lot of other stuff. Use those for later in other projects. And let's see. So as you're going down through these, some of them will want to fall right out, but you want to take care. You want to kind of resist the urge to take this and snap it out with your fingers, because what you've got is there. Let's see. There you can kind of see here that the laser didn't cut all the way through it. And that's meant to hold it in the frame so that it doesn't just drop out when they move it around in the factory and get it back to you. That's why this is all holding together, but other pieces have fallen out. So in that case, take the other 2 pieces. And that allows you to move them around like that. Other parts of the subterranean volcano layer. keep them out of the way. And you'll take your sharp X-Acto knife. Actually, in this case, it doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly right out of the package sharp X-Acto knife, because as you're cutting these little pieces, you're likely that you might snap the tip off the end of your blade, and that's nothing really to be afraid of, nothing to be bummed out about when it does happen. The blade will still work just as well, and actually you'll be able to cut right into it. So here's one piece, set that over there. You can see, let me see, where did it go? Here we are. Show you some of the technique to working with this that I've discovered, is that on the front, and actually that one may not be the best one for it. Here, actually let's work with this one. There we go. So here you can see various different lines. It's very pretty. You can see where all the laser has cut through it, the different little detail lines that the laser has made, not going very deep into the wood. But from this side, it's difficult to tell where the little clips are, the non-cut parts that are holding the pieces in. If you flip it over to the back, however, you can see all the lines that are meant to come all the way through, and with a little examination, you can see where the little tabs are. There we go. That's how easy it comes out when it's meant to come out. Here, in here, I'm not sure if you can see. I'll try to get some better pictures. You can see where the lines stop, and that's actually what's holding this particular piece into the frame. And there goes more free parts. All the free parts go into the free parts bucket. Here we go. More difficult than that should have been. And let's take a look at the instructions for a change. Go against the genetic imperative of doing this myself and actually follow the instructions, which is very, very smart. Right, so we're going to cut out some of the connector pieces. And look around for those. So I did not do an unboxing for you, but we'll kind of do sort of a blind build. I didn't open the box in front of you, so I did look through these a little bit more, but I haven't really prepped them ahead of time because I wanted to do that with you so that you could see what was going on and demystify some of the unknown parts of the process. So here we're looking through step 2, cut out the connectors. So we'll find the different tabs. Actually, from this side, from the non-cut side, the low side, we can knock out that and find the tabs that are holding the piece in. So there goes one G. It's called a GG connector, named for the different sections of the walls. The walls have a G side and N side. Yeah, a G and an N side. So garage door and normal walls is what that stands for. So we'll get that out. These here are N connectors. Pop that. And you can just push the knife right in and snap that last little bit of connection. Test it with your fingers. And I did not get all of the tabs. There's another one right there. So that gentle testing will also show you where connector tabs are that you might not have seen. Come on. Got on that side. Try again. Usually you'll feel a little click or a thunk as the knife goes into the board, you'll feel that sudden release when the tab lets go. Let's see, where are the other connectors? Those aren't ones. These are, though. Where are these? There's one. Get that little click. And another little click. And so this is going to add a lot of pop to the tabletop. A little garage on there. Someplace for Spectre Wild to take his motorcycles, his little A-left motorcycles, either during the battle to hide or after the battle to get him fixed when I wreck him again like last time. And will also give me some cover for my engineers or for all of my different remotes. Here we go, there's one. So we'll get all these out. I've put together a set of MicroArts catwalks, and they come together really well and really fairly quickly once you get the hang of getting all the pieces out. Another piece. Yep, that's an NN. Here are more NNs. So you can initially test each piece. Some of them will drop right out. Some of them are more resistant. There we go. We definitely heard the release of the piece that time. Work through and get those pieces out. So we'll take a moment. I'll get more of this cut out so we can actually get to some useful cutting into this. I think you've seen enough of just chopping some pieces out. And we'll take a little break and come back when we've got some more stuff. We'll get some good purposeful construction going on. Alright, so we've got the connectors cut out, so we took care of some of that tedium. And we'll cut out the walls and get back into, get stuck into doing this. And show you just how easy this product can come together. So again, I'm cutting at the connectors that are holding it into the frame. There, I felt that one let go. Get this one cut out. And there it is. So that wall came out nice and easily. We'll get the next one cut out. It's another good reason to be cutting at the inside of these boards is that you saw that the knife is wobbled over, and I've actually kind of gouged that up a little bit. But that's going to be on the inside of the building. So once that's done, it'll be difficult to see. It's going to be away from the public eye, and you can reassure everyone that you did manage to get this done completely perfectly because you are that awesome. And they'll never be able to see any sort of little mistakes that you might have made like that. There, that one let go. And this wall comes right out. Right, so this is the side door to the garage. And you can see from the back the little lines where the door is cut in, where the laser came out the back side. And on this side you can see the detail of the door. Now MicroArts left the little tabs in there, just like the wall, so you can either, you know, your door isn't going to accidentally fall out. If you smack on it with your finger enough, you'll knock the door out. But it can go back in. That's part of the selling points of these terrain buildings, is that you can have the doors in or out however you choose, and then the next way when you want to do something like that, you can, you know, meant to do that sort of thing. So we'll work with the door out for now to avoid a repeat of that comedy. We'll work on new comedy for you instead of doing the same gag over and over. But now that we've got these two walls out, take a look at the instructions, and we'll use a garage to garage connector. And let's see. No, that's not the one that I want. Use, here we are. A normal to normal connector. I have problems with normal, so that's why I was confused. We'll put that in there. Put that one in there. Some of them do go together a little tight. Pardon me. They go together a little tight, but that's actually the virtue of it, because you can do this with or without glue. Sink that in, just like that. Doesn't seem to be lining up exactly the way I expected, the way it shows in the directions. So, as is always, the solution appears to be more brute force. Slide them in tighter. This is definitely not rehearsed. Completely honest, no setup. So you see me do, you know, is not slicked up or rehearsed or somehow manipulated to make this look easier or more difficult than it really is. So there, we've got our first corner. Now, we'll set that aside, get out another wall. Actually, in this case, let's go with one of the garage door walls. So that's on garage 1 here, sheet 1. Flip this over so I can see where the connectors are. Cut through these. Here we are, goes 1. Remember? Well, I was going to say, remember, this is finesse, not force, but I just showed that sometimes force is necessary, but with the knife, still, several small cuts is better than one big brutal cut, because you have more control over it. If a small finesse cut happens to go not perfectly as planned, then very little damage is done. However, if you really lean on something and you go with brute force, and brute force does not work out the way you expected, you can actually do some serious damage to your expensive model. So it does get frustrating sometimes to try and stay calm, go slow, not hack at things. But that's really what you need to do, and that's really the way that you can get through a frustrating, expensive model. Not to say that this one is frustrating, this is actually going very nicely, but in general, it's best just to even take a break if you need to make sure that you don't damage something that you were really working so hard on and saved up so long for. No, that's not it. There we are, this is the one. So this is my garage to normal wall connector. So let's see, this goes to here, so I put that one in there. Nope. Put that one in there. I would have ended up with a 45-degree front wall, which I suppose would kind of work for a little wedge-shaped garage, but it would have made it much more difficult when the two vehicles came together like that in the middle, and the mechanics had to get around each other to be able to work. Would not have made a very happy workplace. So let's see, go like that. Flip this over, so we've got the little garage normal connector there. Slide it into here. make sure that you can still see me here in the publicly cleared section of the volcano lair, the secret volcano lair, which I guess isn't terribly secret any longer. What with all these handy tutorials. But as may be. Really? So we'll double check, because apparently the buildings in the Infinity Universe. Ah, I see. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Trixie. That's how they take care of the gaps. We'll deal with that too. Now, connect the two walls together. Do. Attach the walls. So we've got little walls here. Cut out one of the floors. We'll take the floor piece. So you see that I'm moving back and forth, and I'm assembling a little bit, cutting out a piece, assembling a little bit, cutting out a piece. I really do think that's the best way to go with this. You want to take all of your sheets out. I think the best way to do it is take all your sheets out of the package, look them all over, look at the back side of the sheet, like I was mentioning, knock out all of the little pieces that are just placeholder kind of things, the little holes in the floor and the connectors, and get those out, put them into your bits bucket for later on, and leave the actual component pieces in the frames until you need them. If you go through and you start cutting stuff out and you get like a whole big pile of parts that you've cut out, you could end up with like these little small connector pieces here. One of them gets knocked down, gets knocked away, you mistake it for a piece of scrap. That's another good reason to keep all the scrap. Is to go through if you've mistaken one piece of scrap for a component for a piece of scrap, and save them out from there. So let's see, cut out the floor. Connector is right there. That one go click. And that couldn't have been just the only one. Or it could have been. Sometimes they come out. Just that simple. Let's see, this little hole unusually had a tab on it instead of just popping right out. So that pops right out. Goes into the bits bucket. Now let's see. This goes. How do the floors go? Consulting the directions again. So take that. Come around. And goes inside. Nope. Maybe this is a roof. Yeah, this is a roof part. So that's going to go more like that. So 2 roofs, 2 floors, 2 little cents. So here we go. Let's try one of these as a floor and see how well that works out. Tab up here. Pop that right out. Try that again. Toot toot toot. Toot 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 toot. So not like that. A bit more like that. So it's a little more tricky here. So we've got this tab hole, that tab hole, and that tab hole. Or slots. Words are hard. And these tabs here. And I could cut these little holes out, but I don't think I need to on this particular piece. And they're going to go in there, so pardon me a moment. Work out of your vision. See if I can mangle this around. At the rank of general, you'd think that I'd be able to fabricate this with you being able to see everything that I did. There we go. So, there. Get those all tabbed in. And give it a little squeeze. So there's a delicate balance between the finesse of putting this together and the brute force of just making it do what you want it to do. Sometimes it's what's necessary. So while this isn't really, I would say, this isn't an expert build, I also wouldn't say that it's really a basic build. You'd want to have some modeling experience, some building experience to be able to find your way through the directions, locate all the pieces, and try and interpret what you're doing and troubleshoot this as you go. So probably having some modeling experience would help. Having an adult or somebody who's more experienced working with you so that you can work on it together. This probably actually would be fairly fun for parent and child, big brother, little brother kind of thing. Two friends to work together on and get some experience together. So we'll set that aside and we'll work on building the mirror of that. So let's see. The floor. Let's see. So we've got that. And now we need the garage door. Actually, I think we've already screwed that up. Nope. No, good. Hey. Right, so not only can stopping what you're doing to take the pieces that you've played with and set them together and kind of look at how glorious it'll be coming up is just fun and cool, validating to look at what you're doing, but it also gives you an opportunity to double check that what you're doing correctly. So that we've got this in correctly there. This is going to be the next piece that goes there. We'll do that. Put the glue back someplace resembling away. Put our normal wall / garage door connector in there. And the last one, put it in right. And now put the garage door on like that. Okay. Got that there. And now for putting the floor in. So the floor in this case has the 4 tabs, goes in the 3 slots here, and then it dovetails with the slot on the floor so that the 2 sides of your building will go together and look nice and spiffy. So flip it over. Make sure that I'm on the right side of all the wall connector tabs. Put that in like that. And there we go. And this shows me that that crunchy sound was scary. And I don't have the walls all the way into their slots. Like that. Ooh, come on now. Be nice to me. I'm talking nice to you. Talk nice to me. Come on. Come together. There we go. So now, put that together like that. You can see the building start to come into shape. And let's see. Back to consulting the directions again. Alright, so now we take our NN connectors, normal wall to normal wall connectors. Put one down on that side, one in on that side. And okay, so those will go together there. But before we do that, we don't, if we take and lock this in together, then I would have to lever this apart or pull this back apart again to be able to get the front side connectors in. So let's get the front side connectors in. And I guess I could go on this side for variety's sake. Push that in there. Move that out of the camera way. Push that in here. Come on now. There we go. Finesse versus force. Here we are. So one of the reasons why these are going together and sounding so crunchy and going together with so much force is two reasons. One is because the CNC machine, the computer, it's CNC or C&C machine. It's escaping me right now what the CNC stands for, but feel free to let me know or let everybody else know what CNC machine means down in the comments. But it's basically the computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing machine that these were built-in software suite, designed up. All of the code was fed into a big machine that cut these up with the lasers, and that machine and that laser is extremely precise. And with such precision, that means that the tolerance between these is really, really tight, which means that there's a lot of friction trying to get these together, making for some of the tight movements. That makes it, the upside of that is that it makes for a very tight, beautiful looking building. Let's see. The downside is putting it together. But the real reason, the main reason, the tolerance is the good part. The potentially frustrating part is that this is wood, and it's a lot of papers put together, so you can end up with glue or the resin that's holding these layers of paper together. When it gets hit by the laser and it's burned off, because these are literally burned through, that resin can come out or it can be left in the cracks, and it creates some stickiness that is what is helping you hold the building together without glue. But it also means that the friction of the pieces passing over each other as you go to put it together is increased, and that can make for some of the difficulties that we see on display today. Here we are. That goes together there. That goes together there. Push it all together nice and tight. Now this building is not going to accidentally come apart without glue. It will hold just fine. You don't need to deal with any glue. But if you want, you still can. But it's not going to come apart by itself. Although, just like the little lesson with the door, don't really want to tempt fate by shaking it all over the room to show how well held together it is. And now, move on to page 2 of instructions. So, now that we've got that going, we'll attach the bottom ledges, keeping in mind that the ledges for the walls with the garage door and the small door are different. Right, so, ledges. So that may be, is that this? So there we are. We'll go right back to kindergarten, have a good time, punch out the pieces, you know, match the pieces together, match the shapes. Since they're different, I should check and see. Stop it. There. I always want to talk nicely to your models because, you know, if you speak harshly to them, they can make it even more difficult for you. But occasionally, it is necessary to speak firmly when they start to run off to explore the rest of the secret lair. There we are. Alright, so I do believe these are the 2 bottom rims for the garage, and as you can see, they are different. This one fits right down here. Maybe this goes on top. Hey, look. It's a top rim part. No. Alright, so. And there was much confusion and lamenting. So, attach the bottom ledges. That is not the one. See? Chaos. Go with the flow. Have no idea what you're doing. Learn about it as you go. All grand, good fun. So let's see. Piece for the door. Could be that. It's got a little tabby tab on the bottom of it. Perhaps it is this one. Go with take 2. We'll see about breaking this piece out. That looks much more convincing. So, we've got different bits to dress up the bottom of the building so that you don't just have these little leftover raw edges. That's all that we've got for instructions on that. So that is one of the things about MicroArts Studio stuff, is that they do have instructions for what's going on, but some of the time they're not the most intuitive of things in the world, and that's where the experience comes in to have some confidence in what you're doing and not get it completely messed up. So that's a little dressed up there. Then we can work around the back with similar pieces. what sort of fun and amusing mistakes I can make with these pieces. Does that drop into there? Do 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 do. Mystery. So, got the piece. You can see the long tab there, and the long line here, similar to this. But on this piece, very short tabs. So this would have to go. That's not it. Maybe it goes up like that. Ah, these are part of the balustrade roof part tops. The roof parapets from stage 8. That goes in like that. Or, yeah. Okay, so having looked at this more, got some better idea of what's going on. Newly fueled, some fresh caffeine. Things have come into far sharper focus, and we'll get back to work on this. So, when last we left our heroes, we were struggling with figuring out how to put the bottom ledges on. The bottom ledges are here. Flip that over so we're looking at the back side. Cut out the tabs. And on this side also. And pop these out. So there's that. And then take the tabs, the ledges, and lay those gently onto the braces here. Just needs to be slid over a little bit and then popped down. There we go. Pop those on there. And then take the last one. Sorry about that. Little intercom issue with the corporate masters going on. Cut their noise out. We'll move on from there. So now we've got the bottom ledges taken care of there on the sides and backs, and now we'll do the same for the front. Here we go. So there's this little squiggly bit is part of the floor and dust guard that goes in the front. Now, as rugged as these may be, yeah, you can tell they hold up to me dropping and throwing them around. These spindly little bits, see how skinny some of those pieces are. Now, where before I was really thrashing this into place, now we're back to pure finesse again, because this little tiny skinny bits can just twist and snap off very quickly with very minimal warning. So you want to avoid that as much as you possibly can. No fancy lines on either side to tell me which way is in or out, so it's not possible for even me to get them inside out. Lined up and locked in. So now we've got the whole bottom done. So then, moving on, we're moving on to the roof parapets. So this is the parapet, and this one does have nice fancy sci-fi lines all over it. Has lines showing me which way is inside and which way is outside. So we'll lay that on over here. This is the one for the ladder access to the roof. Put that opposite of the door. Or actually, if I was coming out of the side door of the garage to look at something up on the roof, I wouldn't want to have to come out the door and walk all the way around the building. That'd be a pain in the butt as a business owner. So I'm going to put the ladder next to the door, come out the side door, go up the ladder, check the AC or all the leaks that are in the roof from, you know, special ops commandos and their hobnail boots running up and back on my roof, detonating grenades and such while I'm trying to conduct a good, honest business. So we'll see if that works out. It may not, because the ladder and the door might interfere with each other. I don't know yet. This is my first time putting this building together, just like it may be your first time looking at these. So now, parapet with the long tabs goes on the back side of the building. So we've got this step here and this smooth side. So the smooth side tells me that it goes in the middle of the building there, where the other one will match up. Not that one. This one. It'll match up like that. And it all works nice and slick. Almost as if I knew what I was doing. There we are. Coming together. It'll look pretty good for the first time go around. There, now. Earlier when we were looking through these gaps and wondering if heating bills in the Infinity universe were dramatically lower because they had these grand holes in the corners, I saw that they have a slick way, a nice little sci-fi way of dealing with that. And now it's time for me to show you what that is. Some of their signature styles with the little boards sticking out from the corners help dress up the gaps in the HDF, which really is a nifty little design solution for the people who made these plans up, putting these buildings together, putting, you know, how do you convert sheets of flat HDF into 3D buildings. So now you get these little corners out. Cut those out of the board, put them on the corners. So let's see. And they just go right in like that. And once again, oh, maybe you do have an orientation. So what I just discovered, you see here, this side is shorter than that side. That makes this the bottom and this the top. This part, this short part, goes in here and it goes up underneath the parapets. And that's how you cover up your holes in the corner and keep the heat in on a cold Ariadne night. And the nice thing is that they only go in one way, so if you happen to pick the piece up the wrong way round or drop it or lose track of what you're doing, you'll know as soon as you try to put it on whether you have it the right way up or not. So there's the first two. And now we'll put in the back two. Get those popped out, cut the little tabs. A little combination of finesse and force. Here we are. Some gentle understanding working with the HDF. It's changing form, taking on a new life. It might be just as nervous as you. So there we go. Pop that in. Back corner. And then the last corner. You'll notice as you start to pick up experience with the MicroArts buildings that at the beginning it's daunting, it's slow going, there's a lot of frustration that may be going on in it as you're trying to figure out what's going on. But as you work through the project and you get closer and closer to the end, you'll notice that your skills actually start to pick up, you have a better idea of what you're doing, and things just start to go well, things start to go your way, and it's all working out. So then the front and the back have similar little patches, and we'll take care of those now. So let's see. So these you can tell front and back because they have the spiffy little infinity sci-fi lines on one side and then the blank side on the other. So you take two of these, line them up. You've got one center brace, and that center brace, see it where you can see it more easily rather than where it's more convenient for me. These line up, slide right into the front. There you go. That solidifies the front of the building. A little more visual interest, covers up that seam, gives you a much tighter visual line, making it look more like one solid front rather than a bunch of boards being put together. Okay, so now that I've got the front side in, before when I put the back side on, I didn't really want to put a lot of pressure down on the building to push these in because I'd be pushing against these unprotected points. But now as I go to put it in on the back, it's even more important because now I've got this rocker here, and that's actually a finished face, and you don't want to scar this up. And if you put a lot of pressure on the building now with that extra point there, it's just going to lever it apart, snap it in half. And you're going to be going back to the drawing board with a lot of white glue to put the building back together. So let's see, get those in there, and they just pop right in. There we go, pop right in, nice and neat, just like I knew what I was doing. And now the back has its visual interest there, and is now much more unified and looks like a single coherent piece that was bought as a single block already assembled. So that gives that a really nice look. And you can feel, I can feel as I hold it, that it doesn't have that twisty turny kind of aspect to it anymore, where if I twisted it too hard it could have come apart into its component parts. Now it's got a good solid building feel to it, a nice block going on there. So then the next step as we work on is the ladder, they say. So let's see, here's the ladder on frame 3. Yep, there it comes right out. So there's our ladder. It's even got helpful little arrows tell you which way to go up in case you don't know how to operate it, in case your characters don't know how to operate a ladder. Or maybe it's telling you how to get down safely. I suppose instructions on how to get down safely is more important. Being able to get down is easier than going up, but doing it reproducibly multiple times is more difficult. Here we are. We'll tab on the brace for the ladder. So these are the braces that come out of the wall and support the ladder. You know, the wall brackets. So these all come out. They're all pretty much identical, except MicroArts has very kindly given us a way to distinguish upper brackets from lower brackets. And that method is the upper bracket has a little line through it. Can you see? Not sure. There we go. A little line there where the lower bracket doesn't have that same line. Just reach out in the world, poke you right in the eye if I'm not careful. So we'll take care of that. Set this aside with my philosophy of leaving things on the frame until we need them. So back to the directions. The directions are showing. This goes like that. That. So let's see. This little tabby bit. So that must go on this side. Alright, so we've got the little line and there's a little tooth there. So the little tooth goes on the bottom. So the little tooth is down there, the little line is up here. That goes on. Now once again, having figured out the magical mystery, the power of the little toothy bit on the brace, bottom will go together nice and easy. We'll have another entry into the comedy of errors here when I try to figure out how to put this into the wall, because I'm not sure how that part works. So there's our ladder with wall brackets. And they say to put the little foot tread at the bottom on before attaching it to the wall. That may have been the only tab. Yep. Right. So then, little foot tread just clicks right in. Like that. Now, at this point, this should magically become apparent to me. The place to click the ladder in at, which I'm not seeing. So, carrying on the theme of confusion and comedy of errors, we'll just check this out more closely. Or we'll skip it for now and come back to it, because I don't see any particular place where I might have made a mistake and put it in the wrong place or whatever. Keep knocking the feet off. So, the ladder brackets, glue, definitely glue. Let's do that now, because this is getting quite old. So pull that out, move that out of the way. Little tabby bit of glue, which is not going to work, because the whole internet is watching me make mistakes. That's cool. Like I said before, adapting, overcoming. World building is all about adaptation and overcoming to what you're dealing with. Little piece of vinyl. There we are. Glue on the vinyl. We can just make do with a little natural brush. Glue on the finger into the tabs. And now, so here we are. Double check with the instructions that I'm putting it back on correctly. Now that I'm using glue, it becomes a little more important. So we'll get this glued up. Glue dries nice and clear. That won't be a problem. Clean up the excess anyway. You don't want globby glue making it look like somebody had sloppy welding techniques when they welded together your expensive ladder. There we are. Well, Optimist says that since I made plenty of mistakes before the ladder, this ladder isn't making me look any worse. So there we go. That's all set. We'll let that dry for a while. Let it think about what it's done or not doing, and see if we can find... Well, we'll deal with the ladder in a minute. Right, so now we're going to work on the ramps, because if your motorcycle or car is broken down, you don't want to have to push it up over that big lip to get it into the garage. That won't go very far to getting you repeat business for your repair business. So here are these. Tab there for that. Tab for that. One right there. One right there. Pull these out, see how these work. So, instructions say to slide those together. Clip, snap. There we are. Set those aside. And now we take these, pop that tab there. Is that it? Looks that way. Yep. So there's one. And two. Alright, so these are the struts that hold the ramp up, guide the ramp up into the building, and they show you which way is inside and out. It's got a little sci-fi line there on the side, so slip that on to the ramp here, and the other side. Feeling suspicious now. Here we go. And then take and slide them. We'll double check before I say anything about it. Yep. So there's little square holes there. You can see you've got the squares and the rectangles. So tabs here on the ramp go into the squares. Again, we're going to set it up on its back. We don't want to put pressure on that detailing piece in the back. Just guide that in. Try to support it from the inside. Alright, so this is fiddly. Not thinking that I'm a big fan of this. All the other issues I was willing to put down to inexperience or tightness, but making this happen is not fun. Alright, so, and just plunge straight in, knowing that this time these ones will be right where we want them to be. Works just like we knew what we were doing. And then pop that in. Ramps up. We can go inside. We can start working. Alright, so after the ramps, we start talking about putting the garage doors in. Now this is one of the features that actually sold me on getting this, because this is just straight up neat. Let's see, let's throw the roofs on, because later on when we get the doors done, that'll just look that much better. So, let's see. That goes that way. So one roof in. This is where the garage door goes down through. This is the tab that locks the roof together. Go like that. Now you can play on top of the building, and when somebody goes inside, you can either reach in through the door, pop the roof up, play on the inside, or you can reach in through the garage door and pop the roof off. So that's handy, because back in the day when I was walking uphill both ways in snowstorms, some of the terrain buildings that you got, the roofs didn't come off, and you had to basically play like the building was impassable. You couldn't really go inside. It ended up being a big pain, trying to get figures in, figures out, where are you standing. So having the roofs come off that easily is just great. It increases the playability so much, and is very much worth the investment to get the buildings. So back to the garage doors. Now we've got the doors, the fiddly little frame bits, and the little holders. So let's pop those out. Snappity click, and that went in nice and good. 4 holes, 4 tabs. Then we'll get the tab holder out. There we go. And that goes in with the slope going back. So, tabby bit in there. Now, we'll pull down the garage again. See that real good? Tab, and you can just drop the garage door in, pop, open the garage door up, drive somebody in, do whatever, deploy somebody in there, put that back down, and there you have that. So let's get the other one in. If that makes any difference. There we go. And that's down and in. That one drops all the way down. That one only drops part way down. Oh, here we are. So there we go. So one of these tabs I put on backwards. The other one I put on as instructed. It doesn't make any difference to the functioning, but it does kind of clean up the look a little bit. Turn that back around. Put it in the designer intended fashion. We've got the doors nice and closed. Ramps on. We're pretty much all set. So that's all down. Now, Jen, I can pop the roof off. That's also good. See that when the roof is off, the doors don't necessarily fall out. They have little slots there. So that goes down and in. Come on now. There we go. Then, even when the roof is off, this isn't going to fall out of place. Got it down in there. And it's locked in nice and tight. Now, while the roof is off, we can go ahead and put the door back on, you know, because after a really good party or a bunch of commandos come through kicking doors down, you need to go back and put your door back in place just so. Wait for the next commando team of Black Ops specialists to come through and wreck your place again. Alright. There. There we go. Door in, doors on. The last thing to deal with is that pesky ladder. And when you know it, they show me how to put the ladder together, but they don't show me where to place the ladder. So let's go back to this sheet, cover sheet, which also in its own special way is its own kind of instructions. Apparently, they believe, well, the way they've set it up is, aha, yes. All right. So, for whatever reason, it's destined to have the ladder on the other side from the door. That's probably built for fire lane control more than fire code control. So this means that somebody standing in the door doesn't have cover and controls the access to the roof. So by switching this over to this side, so the ladder and the door are on opposite sides of the building, now that I've got the feet here in, they will just fit by pressure in between the top skirt, the what do they call them? The balustrades? No, the things on castles. Parapets. There we are. Words. All these words in your strange, funny, foreign human languages. So the ladder just goes in by pressure, holds on. Now I'm very much happier that I've got the struts for the ladder glued in, because any kind of bump sideward would knock that off. So definitely glue those. But there it is. It's all together, all by pressure. Minimum glue, except for a couple of really good reasons. Holds up well, pick it up, move it around the battlefield. Knock the door out, knock the ladder off. All set, he says. And there we go. And there is your District 5 garage. You can go about, you can prime it with some spray paint, do whatever you like with it, airbrush. I haven't gotten an airbrush to work on with this yet, but I have worked with this material with spray paint, and it drinks it up, so it's going to require more spray paint than you may be used to, but the spray paint does not fill up the lines of the detail. The laser lines go into the wood far enough that it actually draws the paint down in, and then the lines are still visible. So don't be afraid to hit it with some spray paint if you want, and get that all dressed up nice and neat. It was more of a challenge than I expected. Like I said, so it's an intermediate build, not a beginner build. But it did go together really pretty well. It fits really great together. Most of the problems were my own mistakes, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very excited to see it on the field, and I think that we're going to have a really good time with it. We also have what we can do for another video is on the promo material here. You've got this artwork in the doors. Those are actually water slide transfers, which I do have, and they are under a lava flow here somewhere in the volcano, my volcano base. So I will dig those out, and we can work on putting those together, and I'll show you how those work. So there we are. Garage, good time, comedy of errors, everything is great. Came out with all the pieces that I went in with. One of the other nice things about MicroArt is that we've got these other braces that I didn't use. These are optional. We can use those for different things. You can work through the instructions. They show you some of the different options that are available. And within the frames themselves, we've got some different pieces that they have as options. Like here are some optional pieces that we didn't use. And these can be used. You can actually take some of like the barracks, the apartment buildings and stuff, and layer them up. So maybe your garage is the first floor of an apartment building. All sorts of other different stuff that you can do with it. MicroArts Studios has a whole District 5 range. They all work together, they interlock. They all go great together. I very much like it. So there we are. Let's get to it. Have a grand time building your worlds. This is Fabricator General. Happy and ready to get on with some gaming.